So what is kinetic therapy? So kinetic therapy is a form of instrument-assisted massage. So instrument-assisted massage is where you use a tool to manipulate the sort of tissues of the body to enact a positive effect. So i.e., someone's got a pulled muscle, you might use instrument-assisted massage to release that area and stimulate healing. It's based on a practice known as gua sha, which is something that's been used for centuries, and it was used in China and East Asia. And the reasoning behind it was that there's a block in your chi, and that's causing sickness and pain and problems within the body. So there's energy flowing all around your body, and when you get a blockage, it messes up the system. Simplistic, but for me, I think it's completely accurate. So if you get an injury, or you get a pulled muscle, and that muscle heals, what you can sometimes get is you get not a failed healing response, but it never progresses. So you get too much sort of scar tissue. The first layer of tissue that goes down is quite rigid. It's like a scaffolding. And what can happen is, especially if we don't effectively rehab that structure, is we get excessive sort of fibrosis or scar tissue, and it's not as pliable, and it causes restrictions within that muscle. So the muscle doesn't work properly, but it also disrupts the flow of blood, the flow of nutrients, the flow of oxygen and nerve impulses. So that muscle isn't working properly. And then surrounding areas maybe being affected as well. Maybe that's not being fed properly. So there you go. There's a block in your flow. There's a block in your energy, and you need to remove that to get the system to work properly again. So that's what instrument-assisted massage is. Now, kinetic therapy is developed by a man named Stephen Heaton, sort of my friend and mentor. Cool guy. He was a professional athlete, a professional rugby player. He got injured multiple times, and he got very frustrated with sort of the treatments he received, and he went all around the world seeing different physios, different people to try and help him, and he just got frustrated. Spent thousands and thousands of pounds and didn't really get the result he wanted. So in the end, he started developing his own system, and 10 years later, kinetic therapy is here. What I would say is unique about kinetic therapy is certainly the tools. So they're not a gimmick. They were made with a purpose in mind by someone who understands the body and tissue very well, by someone who has done a lot of hands-on massage. That's what I would say as someone who, my background is, PT, and then I went into doing a lot of massage as part of my degree. We did lots and lots of hands-on work, and I also started working as a massage therapist alongside PT and alongside my degree. So I got lots of experience hands-on, and I was good with my hands. I was known as concrete hands by the rugby lads. And as I was taught massage bowl, but I got good results. I got good results with deep tissue work, and then I got a tool in my hand. And I started using some crappy tools I got off Amazon, and I was able to get some cool results. And then I used Stephen's tools, and it was a night and day difference. I think I immediately give away my other tools, and I started using the ones that Stephen had. I bought a couple off him, and they were worth every penny. They made my job so much easier. I got so much better results. They give me such good feedback that, from a clinician standpoint, they're easier on the body, they're easier on your shoulders and your hands and stuff, but just they allow you to manipulate that tissue so well. They allow you to manipulate the tissue in a way that you just wouldn't be able to do with your hands. And I'd say what is also unique as well is the effect that we have on the fascia and the fascial slings. Now, fascia is like sort of like connective tissue that surrounds all the muscles in the body. It also surrounds the organs. You have sort of superficial fascia and you have deep fascia. And fascia is made of layers, and within those layers sits sort of hyaluronic acid, and that allows for the sliding and gliding of tissues. Some people would describe it as you have these fascial slings, and there's pockets, and the muscles all sit inside these pockets, and it all works together. Now, fascia does have nerves, it does respond to load, it responds to injury. Some people describe it as an organ in itself. The research is still ongoing in it. It's something that's been known about for thousands of years. I think there's reference to it like 3,000 years ago, and beyond, and throughout history. So we've kind of known it's there, but it's only in recent years that people have started to look at it in terms of having an impact on function, performance and pain. Now, when we use the tools, we're not only able to address those restrictions I was talking about before in the muscle, your traditional sports injuries, pulled muscles, all that type of stuff, but we're able to address the issues within the fascia as well. And that's something that I was definitely missing as a clinician with my hands. I could have some effect on scar tissue, but nowhere near in the way I'm able to do with the instrument-assisted massage. Now, there's a mixed bag of research out there. Some research will be like, there's not enough evidence. It's poor quality. They're not sure. they're not sure if it has a positive impact or not. They don't know if it's better than traditional modalities or not. And there's other research out there that would show that it does have a positive impact on pain, on neck pain, on back pain, on migraines, on PMS. There's all sorts of things out there that it's touted as being good for. And then on top of that, we've got myself and the other clinicians are out there using it, and we see a lot of good results. We've got a lot of case studies building up. Now, there's research out there that will show that when you use an instrument to massage, it will stimulate the production of collagen. So one of the things it does is you go in there, you clear out its restrictions, and it stimulates fibroblasts in the area, which leads to proliferation of collagen. Now, there is research out there to back that up. We see it in terms of, we see skin quality improve. So we see people who've been treated with, it's just kind of it's not our aim to improve cellulite, but it happens. You see improvements in the skin tone and the quality and the muscle as well. Because again, there is research that will show that using instrument-assisted massage can improve if you've got like overactive muscles, it can calm them down. And if you've got muscles that aren't firing properly, it can help activate them. Like I've done it where I've had a lad, alright, do a single leg squat, checking his stability on each side, and say the injured side, he can't do it. I go in there, do 40 minutes of blading. Afterwards, he can stand on it, he can squat on it. I've seen it happen time and time again. But there is some research out there to back that up. So when we're doing that, so we go in there, we break down that scar tissue, we kickstart a healing process. Now, the thing that everyone focuses on is the red. So we see the red, we see all these marks, we go, oh my God, that can't be good, it's doing damage. And I see other clinicians out there throwing shade at it. And I suppose one of the things I'd say is if all you're going to contribute to the world is to call out other stuff, then maybe you're not doing enough on your own stuff. But I digress. My point is that that's the big thing, and that's the big thing people see that can't be good for you. Now, when I try and demonstrate it, I go, well, here's session 1 and here's session 5, and you'll see a massive difference. Now, if I was just doing damage, wouldn't it be the same every time? If I was just doing damage each time, I'm sure I'd do the same damage each time as well. Now, what we see is we see an improvement. We see an improvement to the muscle tone. We see an improvement of the skin quality and the tissue quality. We clear out those restrictions. Yes, it causes some redness. The body, it kicks out a healing response in the body. So the body goes, right, we need to clear this out. We're going to get rid of all this damaged tissue now. And then the net positive is it lays down new tissue. We get that collagen production and we get new tissue starts to form. You couple that with an effective rehabilitation program, some stretching, some loading, and you're going to get some cool tissue going down. You're going to feel better. You're going to move better. And on top of that, if we've restrictions within the fascia, we've addressed them as well. So sometimes you can loosen the muscles off, but you're still stiff. You can have a massage, but you know what? That pinch is still there. And quite often it's the fascia. And that, again, that's where the tools are unique, particularly these ones that are fucking great for doing it. You try breaking down an IT band with all these shit tools of Amazon. It's not going to happen. And people say you can't affect the IT band. Well, I've done a few this week already. Them tools, they do a cracking job on it. And I know I'm going on about them, I know I'm plugging them a little bit, but they've helped me massively. Personally, as an amateur athlete and as someone who loves to be active and wants to keep being active, they've helped me massively. And as a clinician, they've helped me massively as well. I had a girl walk in today, just today I had a girl walk in, back's all tight, she's all jacked up, 30 minutes, quick hamstring, quick quad, a little bit on her back, a little stretch, and she's like, oh my God, I can't believe that. She was dreading it at first, and then she's like, oh, I'm booking in again. Because that's what we see all the time. I get it's not for everyone, but that's just the way it is. Yeah, so don't fear the red. That's a healing response. I know that's saying mental, but it is. And if you ask people who've had it done, they'll tell you that it does get better and it does improve. And again, I'll throw some pictures up before and after so you can see the difference once you've had a couple of treatments and that tissue improves. So I'd also say where Kinetic's unique as well is in terms of how Stephen approaches rehab. So now, my training as a sports rehabilitator, I had some great lecturers who taught me to look at the full picture, to look at the body as a whole, to look at the body moving as a whole, to look at each side, to look at how one limb moves versus the other limb, to look at posture, all these things. I had a great lecturer in my first year who she always hammered that massively, and that stuck with me. And I met Stephen, and he had that same approach. He looks at the body as a whole. He's not just going to go, oh, you got a bad back, okay, I'll rub your back and send you on your way, come back in 2 weeks. He's not like that. He's like, right, the reason that's so pissed off is because of this, here, here and here, and he will go down that chain and he will find what's the root cause of that problem, and that's what he wants us all doing as well. And that's why, as he would put it, he doesn't want people out there doing a shit job, so he's careful about who he trains and he's careful about who represent the Kinetic name, because we want people out there doing an effective job. Because one of the issues with the research in sort of instrument assisted massage is it's not standardised in any way. You have people using different tools, you have people using different methodologies, and it's so varied. If you're going to get a real impression of if something works or not, you need a standardised practice. You need the same tools and people doing the same thing, using the same sort of methodology, and that's what Kinetic is doing. He's building that standardised practice approach to it, whether he's doing it intentionally or not, but that is what he's doing, and it's cool. It's cool for to see. So he'll look and he will go right, and we know now when we look at fascia, we look at things like fascial slings, so we have different slings within the body. I always talk about the superficial back line. So the superficial back line goes from your ankle all the way to your neck, and it encompasses, you know, muscles, ligaments, tendons and fascia, and any one of those things could be causing a problem within that chain, and that's why something going on sort of like your left ankle could be impacting like your right shoulder. It sounds mad, but it could, because if there's a restriction within that chain, all it takes is that little thing. I always say, you know, imagine you've got this little thing here, right? Okay, we've got a knot right here, and all of a sudden it gets shorter here and tighter and shorter here and tighter, and it's pulling. Now imagine that's like your IT band or your quad or your hamstring, and it's pulling on, so let's say it's one of your quads and it's pulling on your knee and it's pulling on your hip. Well, it's going to affect how that leg moves, and that could lead to knee pain and overload of the knee. It could lead to an overload of the shin. It could lead to an overload of the Achilles. Equally, that bit of tightness could start affecting that SI joint, and it could start affecting how that SI joint moves. You know, the people go, your SI joints have alignment loop. Again, that's another debate. People say it doesn't move, you can't get pain in it, and then there's others who've, you know, built careers off it. But I'm like, if something's slack on this side and tight on this side, well, it's going to have that impact in it. And all of a sudden that could cause other structures to get pissed off. It could start irritation. So that's what we look at. We're not just looking at, like I said, back sore, let's rub back, ankle sore, let's, you know, strap it up, let's do some ice. We're looking at, well, why is that getting overloaded? You know, I had a footballer in today, the Achilles has been overloaded. So we've done a little bit of work on the Achilles to calm it down, because there's another method called frictions. We get taught it, physios get taught it, and it's cross friction. So say that's your Achilles, you go like that, you do it for about 10-20 minutes, and what it does, it helps to produce collagen. Well, that's what instrument assisted massage does as well, just on a larger scale. So we've done a little bit of that, but then it's like, look, that's angry, but why is it angry? It's angry because your IT band's tight and your quad's tight, because we've done loads of work on your hamstrings, but we haven't touched them for ages, and lo and behold, we get in there, quad's tight, IT band's tight, and that's leading to that overload further down the chain. So that's, and again, that's what, you know, Stephen's all about. That's what Kinetic's all about. It's about getting to the root cause. What is causing your pain? So that's, you know, just a little brief thing about what Kinetic is, a little bit of the history behind it, and I'm going to try a few more of these. What I would say is, don't be scared by the red. Don't be put off by it. Maybe talk to some people who've had it. You know, if you don't listen to us, I get it. We're going to sit here and we're going to go, oh, it's amazing. You know, it's brilliant, it's blah, blah, blah. You know, because I'm a patient, I'm someone I'm a therapist who uses it. But I would talk to people, I'd look at the reviews, I'd look at what people are saying, I'd look at the fact that you see a lot of the same people coming to us. So it can't be that bad, can it? Anyway, I hope this has been informative. I'm going to try and throw some pictures up with it and stuff like that, and some little videos and things. And if you are out there and you're struggling, you want to know a little bit more about it, maybe if it can help you, and believe me, we work with people from all sorts of backgrounds. We work with professional athletes, equally we work with people who are in wheelchairs, we work with people who are bedbound. We'll help anyone, we'll have a go at anyone, and I mean that. Whatever your condition is, if I've come to you, I'll come to you, but we'll work with anyone. But if you're out there and you want a bit more info, just reach out to me or one of the other Kinetic therapists. What I'm going to do when I finish this video, I'll be throwing, like, I'll tag us all in it, so you know, there'll be a therapist somewhere who can help you, and whichever one of you like to think of, get in touch. Honestly, we're here to help, and that's the thing. That's what I've met all of them. We've had some good people. I'm going to say that, but I mean, that sounds daft, but I've worked in places where they're not. You know, I've been in a place today where there are loads of therapists, and here's the number, just ticking a box. I can tell you that every single one of the Kinetic therapists gets such a buzz off helping people. We talk about it, you know, when we get together and we talk about this person who helped and this person, honestly, they buzz off it. It's mint and it's infectious, and I'm so happy and proud to be a part of it. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Hope this has been informative. Oh.